Aloha guys, it's Logan here with Cruisin' Hawaii and GoGo Rental. Today, we're gonna go over our 50cc moped, teach you everything that you need to know between starting, stopping, riding, and then a few helpful tips in case you run into problems on the road. So the first thing guys with any moped rental is going to be obviously starting your moped. So to start your moped, the first thing that we're gonna need to do is take our key and we're just gonna put it in the ignition. Once the key's in the ignition, we're gonna twist the key straight up and down, vertical to that run position, and then we're gonna check to make sure that our kill switch is over to the left. It should be the open circle is for run, and the circle with the X through it is for basically kill or to stop your moped. So we're always gonna wanna make sure that that stays over in the run position. Once we have our key vertically on, just like you would in your car, and our kill switch over to the left, we're gonna grab our left brake, and then we're gonna push our starter button. And the starter button is located right underneath the kill switch, right next to your right thumb. So as you can see, as soon as I touch the starter button, the moped quickly starts up. Once you hear that engine running, you can take your finger off of the starter button. Now, once the moped is running, all we have to do to turn it off is simply turn the key off, and your moped is off. So once we're running, to go, you're simply gonna twist the throttle towards you to give it gas and go, and then you can let go of the throttle or twist it away from you to stop or to stop giving it gas. Once we've gotten off of the gas and we're no longer twisting the throttle towards us to go, we're gonna rely on this left brake most of the time. And this left brake is for our back tire. The reason that we're gonna use our left brake for our back tire is because if we use our right brake, especially by itself for our front tire, you're gonna feel the front of the moped get really heavy and kind of suck down. That's because all of your stopping power is now on that front tire. You're not gonna flip over, you don't have to worry about doing like a wheelie or anything like that, but it is gonna be a bit uncomfortable. If you do need to stop quick or quicker than normal, then just use both at the same time. But let's not use the right brake by itself. So the way the blinkers work on the moped is they're on the left side, and you're just gonna use your thumb to either push it to the right or push it to the left, depending on which way you're turning. So right here, we're gonna push to the left, blinker comes on the left side. On this side, we're gonna push it to the right, blinker comes on the right side. Now you can hear the clicking, that means that your blinker is on. If you push this little knob straight in, it's gonna turn the blinkers off. So you'll need to push this in anytime that you want the blinkers to turn off. Even if you're executing the turn, the blinkers are not gonna turn off for you like a car will. So you'll always have to push this in to turn the blinkers off. The last control that you need to know about on the moped is just gonna be the horn. Right underneath our blinkers, left and right, we have our horn button. Now, aside from waving at your friends and trying to get their attention, you may want to use this horn if a vehicle is maybe going to merge into you. Mopeds are obviously smaller, they're a lot quieter, so other vehicles may not see you on the road. Now let's move to one very, very important piece of equipment that we supply for you while you're on the road, and that is the lock and chain. So to access your lock and chain, which is right underneath your seat, you're going to twist your key straight to the left. You're not going to push in or pull out on the key. You're going to twist it straight to the left. You'll feel a little bit of resistance, but it's going to be the exact same as if you were twisting it to the right to turn it on. Right to turn it on, push left to open the seat. Once we push left, our seat is going to open just like so. And underneath the seat, you are going to find your gas tank, which is going to be sent out full for you, and you do not need to refill this when returning. Also, a very important piece of safety equipment underneath the seat, aside from the chain, is going to be this little yellow switch. Now, this is a lock switch that you can use while parking your moped. I do recommend using this yellow switch and switching it from unlock to lock. Now, what that's going to do is prevent anyone from sticking a screwdriver into your ignition and just turning the moped on. It kills the power from the battery, so you'll never be able to start this scooter or moped as long as this is moved to lock. Now keep in mind, when you come back after your hike or after your day at the beach, if you're sitting there wondering why your moped is not starting, you may want to check this lock switch first because it's very easy to forget about. So to start, we always want to have it on unlock. If you're parking the moped and you want an added level of security, then move it to lock. For now, I'm just going to leave it on unlock. I think we're safe in here. Now let's get to our lock and chain, a very important piece of equipment. Every scooter or moped that we rent here at Cruisin' Hawaii is going to come with a very strong, durable lock and chain. Now, you need to use this lock and chain every single time that you're leaving your moped or scooter unattended. Even if you're just leaving it on one end of the parking lot while maybe walking up to a scenic viewpoint to grab some quick pictures. We have had plenty of customers get their mopeds or scooters stolen in that exact same scenario. They think that their moped is going to be fine 20 feet away from them, 20 yards away from them, so they just leave it. They're just going to be gone for a second, and they come back to find their moped or scooter is missing. It's not very fun for you guys, the customer, and trust us, we do not enjoy having our units stolen either. So to avoid all of that, use this lock and chain every single time that you're locking up. And I'm going to show you the exact way that you need to use it to ensure that your unit is not stolen. Your moped or scooter is going to come with two sets of keys on it. The first is for the moped or scooter, and the second, it usually is a skinnier one that resembles this one, is going to be for the lock and chain. So anytime that we're leaving our moped or scooter unattended, even just for a little bit, we're going to use this lock and chain, unlock, and then we're going to go around the back tire of the moped or scooter. And the way that's going to look is just like this. So through the back tire, and then we do always recommend locking up to some sort of fixed object when possible. So if there's some sort of parking meter or something that you can reach while still having your moped or scooter on the road, because remember, it's illegal to park on sidewalks, you will want to lock it up to that. If you're in a group, please lock all of your units to each other. So if it's you and a friend out, you guys both have mopeds, the best way to be secure is to lock these chains to each other, kind of like this. That way, no one could pick up just one moped and say throw it in the box of a pickup. They'd be chained to each other and it would just be too much of a hassle for any sort of thieves to want to deal with it. So again, anytime that we're leaving our moped or scooter, we're going to lock up the back tire, not the back rack, not the front tire, not around the muffler, because all of those things can be easily taken off. The back tire is very difficult to take off quickly, so it's best to put it around the back tire, just like so. And then when possible, we're gonna fix this chain to a fixed object or to someone else's moped or scooter chain. Obviously, don't lock up to someone else's moped or scooter chain if you don't know them. They might be stuck there. When you're leaving, don't forget that you have a chain on the back of your tire, because if you take off with that chain, it's going to be a bad day for you, and it's going to be a bad day for us too, and we want to avoid those things. So unlock just the same way that you locked up. One thing to keep in mind is be very careful of the valve stem. If you're using the lock and chain and you're putting the chain through the same spoke as the valve stem, when you're pulling that chain out, you could rip the valve stem out of the tire. Now, if the valve stem comes out of the tire, all of the air will come out of the tire. So just use the holes that are completely open within the tire. That way, you don't have to worry about pulling that valve stem out. After you're done using your lock and chain, always put everything back together. Pop the seat to return the lock and chain to the vehicle. And then please don't drop the lock and chain in the vehicle. They're very heavy. And this small piece of plastic inside of your trunk compartment is a little bit fragile. So if you're dropping this big heavy chain on there, you could break it. If you break that, there is a chance that the chain kind of slips into the carburetor department. And again, that's not a good time for us, and it's really not a good time for you guys either. So just place it in there nicely and close up. You're ready to hit the road again. Okay guys, there are two kickstands on all of our scooters or mopeds. The one that is on now is called the center stand. The kickstand that you're more than likely going to be using more frequently is the side stand. This stand is going to work basically the exact same as like a bicycle kickstand would work. You just push down stand comes out, rest it on its side. Put this back if you didn't already know. Lean it up, kick it back up. All right, the center stand right here. So put some weight on this center stand, and if you do this properly, it should be really easy for you. So stand on it, put a little bit of weight on the center stand while pulling up on the back rack of the moped, and it'll slide right back for you. Now, one thing that people have problems with is they'll put weight on this and then kind of hold down on here, and it's just not gonna go, right? Or they don't put any weight on here and they just try to pull on the back, and it's much more difficult to pull the whole moped up. So you can use this for a little bit of support, put one hand kind of up on the handlebars of the moped, and then put all your weight on your right foot while pulling up with your right hand, and then it'll pop right up nicely for you. And I've already done it a few times, but to get it off the center stand, all you have to do is push forward, and it's gonna roll right off the center stand. So customers oftentimes call and say, hey, Logan, my moped won't start, help me out. And 9 times out of 10, we can get that moped started just by making sure that they're checking these things while they're out on the road. The first thing that we're always gonna check is just the same process that we would to start the moped anytime. So we wanna make sure that that key is on. We wanna make sure that our kill switch is over to the left where the open circle is. Next, we're gonna grab our left brake and then push the starter button located just underneath that kill switch on the right-hand side. So in this case, moped starts up perfect, we're all good to go. Now, let's pretend that the moped didn't start. What are the next things that we should be looking at to see why this isn't starting? What can I tell to whoever I call at Cruise in Hawaii so we have a good idea of what the issues may be before we even get out to you? The first thing that we're always going to want to check is that yellow switch underneath the seat. It should always be to unlock when we're trying to start the unit or ride. And it's still not starting, Logan. What's the next thing that I can check? Well, this is going to sound really silly, but make sure that there's gas in the gas tank. Open up your gas tank, and then sometimes you even have to maybe move the moped just a bit to see if you can see any gas splashing in there. Okay, so we have gas. Our kill switch is in the run position, key on, left brake, hitting the starter button. Our yellow switch is to the unlock, and it's still not starting. If the moped is still turning over, meaning you can hear the moped kind of chugging, trying to start, I'll even make the noise for you right now. It should sound like rin-nin-nin-nin-nin-nin, something like that. If you're getting that rin-nin-nin-nin-nin noise, you know that it has power. So the battery is fine. That's not the issue. The only other thing that it could be, well, not the only thing, but commonly what happens is the moped has been on its side, either for a little bit or for a long time. But it does not take very long at all for oil from our oil pan, which is underneath the moped, to travel up through the carburetor and then into our air box. If you get oil in your air box, essentially that whole filter is saturated with this super dense oil and your moped is suffocated. In order for the moped to start, you need to have 3 things. You need to have gas, spark, and oxygen. So we've got gas. We know that we have spark because our battery isn't dead. What probably is the case is the moped has been put onto its side and there is oil in the air box. Just let us know that it has been tipped on the side before we get out to you. Chances are we can quickly clean out the air box and have you right back on the road rather than trying to diagnose from scratch. So if the moped has ever been laid down, involved in any sort of accident, no matter how minor, be sure to let us know ahead of time. We have one more thing left to try if it's not making that noise when you're trying to start it. I'm getting really sick of making that noise, so I'm glad we're to the end of the video. The last thing that it could be is you just have a dead battery. So luckily, all of our scooters, aside from the 200i, and mopeds have a kickstart option on them. So if you do have a dead battery, you are just fine. You just need to kickstart it, and I'm going to walk you through that process right now. First thing that we want to do is put the moped back on the center stand. So we're going to kick up this side stand, put weight on the center stand while pulling up on the back rack, and get it up on the center stand. Next thing that we're going to do is flip out our little kickstart, And then we're going to go through the same process that we would while starting the moped with like the regular controls if the battery were working, except we don't need to press the starter button anymore because it's really not going to do anything for us because the battery is dead. So we're going to turn the key in the on position. We're going to grab our left brake and make sure that our kill switch is over to the left. And then we're just going to give this guy a couple kicks. That was pretty good. I got it on the first try. So those are the basic things that could be wrong with the moped, things that you need to check and things that you need to report to us when it comes time to give us a call and say, hey, it's still not starting. I checked everything. It's turning over. It's making that rin-nin-nin-nin noise. There's gas in the gas tank. My yellow switch is over to the right unlock position. My kill switch is to the left. I'm grabbing the left brake, key on, and starter button.